Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1610 today. And I'm your host, Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Café Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Podcastro Valley, Mont, the last place on earth. Today we hear from Bison Bentley, Valentino, and
Mike's Daily Podcast.
No, wait a minute. That was Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer. We had a super secret Sunday show.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
On the last show, we talked with Irene Pena, and we got into it about social media, and it made me have a fit because there are people that say they don't ever see this show when I post it in Facebook, but that's all right because nobody goes to Facebook anymore, right? Is it just the right? I don't know. We talked about
Mike's Daily Podcast,
her music, and her thunderclap thing. So I want to tell you right now,
Mike's
I decided
Daily
I'm a
Podcast.
nerd, I guess.
Yeah!
But, I mean, the word nerd is not important anymore because everyone's nerds. We all get into the most popular movies. The most popular movie was Black Panther. That at one time was comic book nerd stuff. And that's now it's mainstream. So nerd doesn't exist anymore. So all these stupid shows called Nerdist or your Nerd Side or Nerdy-matic, Nerd, they're ridiculous. They're dumb. Nerd Nation. It's done. There is no such thing anymore. Look who walked in. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, supervisor. A nerd is someone who's like weird, that breathes really heavily, has like an asthma problem, and wears glasses. Chely. I'm just kidding, making a joke, haha. Uh-huh. Look who else walked in. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere, the engineer. As someone who has been a nerd since before nerds existed, I would like to say, yay. Nerds abound. They are abounding, it's for sure. So I don't get shows named. Basically, Chris Hardwick misnamed his show by calling it The Nerdist because at this point it's just saying.
And here's today's podcast picture.
The airist. The air. It's just as blah as air. The blahist is what it could be called. The blahist. Now, I would play a sound effect right now, but the sound effect computer, first off, it freaked me out. Because I came in and I looked at the sound effect computer I have hundreds and hundreds of sound effects. In fact, I added a new one. The point is, though, that all of a sudden I look at the thing and half of it's blank. I went, wait a minute. I thought I had sound effects there, and I was freaking out. I thought someone went in and deleted all my sound effects. And then I started clicking the blank squares, and it turns out where the blank squares are, there is also a sound effect. So I can do things like...
It's a nightmare of a show.
Thank you. Or I added a new one. Where did I put it? Over here. I can't find it because it doesn't show up, so... Oh, yeah, so let's say I was going to tell you I'm going to make a Matthews Chino and other coffee drinks here at Café Anyway. But you said, no, you're going to leave. And you go, wow! Then I would say,
I was going to make espresso.
And that's about it. So I'm flying blind here, ladies and gentlemen, here at Café Anyway. Oh, but this is still up.
Anyway.
Okay, good. The Kate delivered her boy. Kate Middleton. She's got a boy. There's a boy. They had a boy. Another king. Something. I don't know. My thing, though, is Chris Hardwick, he got podcasting going. He probably still has a bazillion listeners. But he is always plugging something. He's always in a commercial. His Comedy Central show, if it's still on the air, I don't even know, where he had like a game show. Well, it was fake. It was a fake game show. They were reading off of teleprompters. They had writers write everything ahead of time. And he was always promoting his stupid Nerdist stuff or blankist stuff. And Chris Hardwick has killed his own brand. Yes, he probably makes zillions of dollars more than me. If he makes zillions of dollars, then that's cool for him, because I don't know anybody who makes zillions of dollars. But they could make billions when they make millions. Oh, I can't find it. Is it there? No, that's the dog. Is it here?
Why make billions when we could make billions?
I literally looked at a blank square and said, I think I put it there. And then I said, literally, so that's very millennial. Another blank square? Could this be the millennial going right?
Right? Good.
I'm pretty good at this. I could do this blind. So the point is, I guess oh, and I know this other guy who does like a nerd podcast, and he starts off with all these commercials for Skechers, whose stock went down like big time. Skechers, they're having issues big time. People aren't buying Skechers like they used to. Yet Netflix stock is going through the roof. And here's the thing is, I canceled my Netflix at the beginning of the year. And the reason is none of those nerd shows, because they do have a lot of that quote unquote nerd stuff on there, it appeals to me. It's done. I'm done with it. The Marvel stuff on there, the Stranger Things thing, I just don't need it. So I canceled it. Now, I personally feel that I am always ahead of the population, because I canceled my cable way before millennials were canceling their cable.
Right?
And
Good.
I canceled it and said, no, I look at all these other things. We can watch Hulu. We can watch DVDs. Actually, I was watching DVDs before the Hulu, because there wasn't Hulu yet. And then it came along, and now everybody's doing the Netflix Hulu thing. Well, not necessarily Hulu, but the HBO on demand stuff on through their internet. And then the people that love sports, none of this pertains to them, because they always got to find. Although Twitter and other social platforms are starting to carry sports. They've been doing so for the past year or two. The thing is, as I am just on a Monday walking in going, oh my gosh, my dog woke me up a zillion times last night. And I like the word zillion, as you can tell. Is that I think I don't promote too much on this show. I just promote the website. And Irene yesterday promoted her Thunder thing, which that website I went to. And Irene, if you're listening, I'm going to communicate with you later about this. But I actually, because we didn't discuss anything we were going to talk about in the interview on the Super Secret Sunday show beforehand. And when I did go to Thunder thing and checked it out, I didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that, they want you to support. Okay, so she's got her cool music series happening in Seattle, which you can find out about at her website, Irene Pena Music. Is that what it is? I'm going to look that up for sure. Oh, by the way, the podcast picture today is a wonderful... Oh, look at that. She's got her... Yeah, IrenePenaMusic.com. Just go there, and whatever she wants to tell you to do, she's got that there, and she's got her Facebook. But I don't like the Thunder thing, and here it is. When you want to support someone through this Thunder campaign thing, it asks you to go through Facebook. You click on the Facebook icon, and it's asking you to allow Thunder to have access to your Facebook. And I'm not doing that anymore. That stuff ain't happening anymore. I'm not allowing any app to have access to my Facebook. Last week, upon all the Mark Zuckerberg stuff and his hearings and whatnot, and is this where I have the Mark Zuckerberg? Yeah.
Drop the just Facebook.
That's Justin Timberlake.
We have a basic responsibility to protect people's data. And if we can't do that, then we don't deserve to have the opportunity to serve people.
Upon all that, and then Facebook said, here are all the apps that are connected to your account that are pulling data from you. I went, hey, wait a minute. Seismic doesn't even exist anymore. I'm deleting that. And all these other ones. I don't need to do that anymore. So that's my rebuttal to the last show. I had no idea we were going to be promoting this thing. And by all means, I promote Irene Pena. I just gave out her website. But that is, I don't, this third-party stuff I'm not too excited about. So that being said, I don't like to promote stuff on this podcast. I think a lot of podcasts, they're trying to make a buck, and they throw in all these ridiculous commercials in for Skechers, like this one guy I know does, and that's not content. That's like nothing. But what is content is me listening to the James Comey interview on the Daily as I drove into work today. And James Comey, Michael Barbaro, who hosts the show, he must have had some kind of legal background, because he asked James Comey, so what you're saying is you in no way thought to talk to your boss after Trump discussed the things that he discussed with you that you thought were inappropriate. And he kept going back, like, now, why did you not do this? Why did you not do that? And James Comey said, it's right here. Nope, that's not it. He didn't say golf club. He didn't say that. I'm going to guess it's right here.
It makes me mildly nauseous.
Yeah. So that's my content today, and that the baby was born in England. And that this podcast doesn't plug stuff, but it does talk about things like the guy who directed the movie The Exorcist has one creepy voice. I was terrified. I was scared. He's got the most amazing voice. But he talked about, so he never seen an actual exorcism before. And he went to one, and you heard a little bit of that in the background. And he said, I don't know what I saw exactly. I think I talked with other psychologists in the documentary that he's just come out with. And he says there is an actual term for it now, that it's some kind of separate personality disorder. But he has his voice just... Wait, is that the same guy that does this?
You too will get old. And when you do, you'll fantasize that when you were young, prices were reasonable, politicians were noble, and children respected them. Oh,
you know what I just realized is that you didn't hear his voice at all. Okay, so here's what his voice sounds like.
There are many things, like radioactivity, that we knew nothing about for the longest time. And maybe someday they'll find some medical or other term for...
Okay. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast over Podcaster Valley. Danger, we might be having issues.
Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
With this show today, it's a Monday. Thank you for your patience. I guess the other thing that happened this weekend was that there was a lot of sleep involved, and that there's nothing wrong with that. And watching Doctor Who, and that seems to be my life right now, is happiness with that. And then as I walked Basil the Boxer, running into a foreign exchange student from Norway. And I had no idea she was from Norway. She goes, yeah, I'm staying with my host family. I said, what country are you from? She said, Norway. I go, you have no Norwegian accent. She goes, I know. And that's amazing. I think the kids of the world today have figured out accents. So we won't ever hear a crazy Norwegian accent anymore. That's kind of sad. But that was my very Irish-y kind of accent. Not quite the Norwegian. My point being is next show we're going to have the wonderful that person, Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. I don't have the Swedish Chef, but I do have Miss Piggy.
Oh, Andre Trois!
As we say goodbye in French. Au revoir.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!
I neglected to mention the podcast pictures of Basil the Boxer in the water. He doesn't usually go in the water. And he decided to go in the water when we went to Monterey on Good Friday. So there he is, enjoying his water up to his ankles, basically. You see that at mikesdailypodcast.com, and that's the end of my plug.